what's up everyone, Fuzzy Juggernaut here. So it's been a while since I've been on my Gank Nightblade. I think I played it for a little bit, a couple months back, and then it's been about a year before that, when New Moon came out. But I decided to get back on my Nightblade, see how my gear set would do, and everything that I used to rock, and I was surprisingly hitting really hard. I was able to take down 30k HP people and people with high resistances. Really wasn't having a problem taking down anyone actually. It hits really hard. By far, not the highest weapon damage that you can get on the builds as far as bow ganking, but the way I have it set up, it hits pretty hard, and it's just a 3-shot combo. Half the time they die before you can even finish half your combos, but it hits really hard, and it's got decent survivability, and it's got good sustain and resources. But before I get into the build, if you like the video or the content on the channel, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit the thumbs down. Either way helps the channel, and we'll get into it. So for our character, we are Khajiit. These are our stats unbuffed. You can pause it to look at them and stuff. I don't necessarily need to go over them all. We are running the Lover for increased penetration. Now you can go with Shadow, as it will give you increased critical damage, but I tested the Shadow, the Warrior, and the Lover out, and honestly, after a week or so of playing this and watching the numbers, and even on test targets and stuff too, and live action, the penetration was just the best way to go, because we're sitting at 50% crit chance. So overall, if our stuff doesn't crit, which most of the time it actually does, regardless that it's 50%, but when it doesn't, the Lover really helps out a lot. It gives you a lot more damage, and especially with everyone stacking up their armor as much as possible, you really need the penetration. But like I said, you can go with the other two if you'd like. You can go with the Warrior, or you can go with the Shadow. A lot of people are running Shadow on the builds. I chose the physical penetration for the Lover, so it's completely up to you. Our food is Artium takeaway broth. You can use Bewitched Sugar Skulls. That also works really well. You'll just have a little less sustain or recovery on your stamina side. Or you can use Dubious Cannon Throne, which would be like last resort, but it's cheaper. Both these foods are pretty expensive. Dubious Cannon Throne's pretty cheap, so I've ran it with all three of them. All three of them work. It's completely up to you what you can get your hands on, but just go with one of those three. We are a vampire on this build, stage 1. You can go stage 2 if you want, so you get the increased weapon damage when you come out of stealth if you'd like. Now buff up. Look at our character sheet for our weapon damage. It's going to be 5,000, and this is on the back bar on the sword. Preferably it will be up to 5,500 once you take a keep or resource, and then also with the weapon damage enchantment on the bow, which I don't have on there right now because I was testing out disease and poison damage enchantments, which by far do less than the weapon damage enchantment on the bow for me anyways, and that's what I got from when I was testing it, so I need to actually switch that back. But you should be up to 5,500 on the back bar, and then you should be at 5,300 on the front bar. And there's also a few other ways to boost the damage all the way up to like 6,000 or whatever you'd like if you want to use those. I don't personally feel I need them. I'm able to take down 30k plus HP targets, so I really don't have a problem with ganking too many people unless they're at like 35, 40k armor with a crap ton of resistances and super tanky. But for the most part, I can take down anyone. We'll buff up for the front bar real quick. 4806, which I said goes up to 5,300, and then like I said, you can boost it almost all the way up to 6,000 by putting certain abilities on your bar and utilizing those. Now we'll go into the gear. Our first piece is going to be New Moon Acolyte. This is our first set. This is our bow. It's Nurnhone. Make sure you gold your weapons out. That should be the first thing you always do, is gold your weapons out. I don't have this build completely mid-maxed at all by any means. I haven't mid-maxed any of the builds on any of my characters except for a few from just stuff that was back in the day, so they were already min-maxed that are viable now. But regardless, really you just need your weapons is the main thing that you want golded out. So we're rocking New Moon Acolyte. Like I said, is going to be our first set. This is on our bow. I have Nirnhoned on here. You can run Sharpened or Precise. As of right now, I'd rather have the weapon damage. We have physical penetration coming from multiple areas in this build and pieces and stuff that we're utilizing. So I just wanted to go with Nirnhoned to increase the damage. Like I said, it's completely up to you. I have a poison damage enchantment on here because I was testing that out, but preferably you want to go with weapon damage enchantment. It will overall boost your damage a lot more, and it will allow for your combo, the extra 2 hits that we're going to do in the combo, more damage for both of those, increasing them. So go with that, don't do the poison. Second, the sword's going to be our back bar, and that's going to be New Moon Acolyte also. This is just a Nirnhoned one. I had golded out. I didn't really put anything else with the weapon damage enchantment. Like I said, I was testing out the few different ways with enchantments on both bars. You can run defending on the back bar. Would probably be ideal just so you have a little more armor on the back. And then whatever enchantment you'd like. Don't run it this way, just run with the weapon damage enchantment on the front on your bow. That was the main way I would run it right now. Then for our helmet, we're going to be running Crag's Mask, Divine's Stamina enchantment. I need to put a max stamina enchantment on there. Like I said, this isn't mid-max. Medium, we're running 6 medium, 1 heavy. This was going to give us our 1435 physical penetration, one of our forms of getting the physical penetration. And then also with New Moon Acolyte, we get the other 1453 physical penetration also, so those stack up and help us out. And then for our shoulder, we're rocking Malakina. You can rock whatever other shoulder piece you would like on here. We just want one physical penetration, and then you want the other one to be weapon damage, so boost your overall damage as high as you can get it. Preferably Divines with the max stamina and trait. Like I said, this isn't mid-maxed, so this is going to give us the weapon and spell damage. Just want the weapon damage. And then our second set is going to be Spriggans. These are impenetrable just because I already had them golded out, so I haven't changed them to Divines, but then Pen helps a little bit, especially if I get hit by anyone. I also like to get up close too when I'm ganking, so it is good for some survivability and taking that crit damage from other people. Max stamina enchantments on everything, and then like I said, you can go Divines or you can have impenetrable. Divines is overall going to give you more damage. And then this set just pretty much gives us max stamina, and the max weapon damage, and 3,370 physical penetration. So we're adding up our physical penetrations along with our damages, which is really good, so we can penetrate the target with high damage numbers. And then Spriggan's Jewelry, I have all infused with weapon damage. I would suggest switching one of these out maybe for a regen. Instead of the weapon damage. It's completely up to you. I run it with weapon damage, but I can normally sustain myself pretty well. So it's completely up to you. If you're getting in sticky situations or running BGs or whatever and you're finding yourself lacking in sustain, then you can switch some out for recovery glyphs. That will help you out. Or cost reduction, whatever you'd like. Also, I forgot, let me go, pots. So I use Tri-Restoration pots. Or you can use Essence of Health pots too. The other Tri-Stat pots. These ones just give you a lot. They work really well. So I go for these ones. Since I have a lot of them on other characters, I just take them off, put them in my bank, and use them. But just use a Tri-Restoration pot. It works really well. Alright, now go to the skills. Sorry, I'm trying to go quick through this so the video's not super long. So we're using Ambush. We're using 2 assassination abilities for the passives that we get from the assassination skill lines. And this pretty much is a gap closer if you need it, which I never use it at all. But if you do need a gap closer, you can use this. We're pretty much just using it for the passives and to get our critical hit strikes up and critical hit damage and our damage overall. Then we're using Camouflage Hunter. This is going to give us Major Savagery and Minor Berserk because most of the time we're hitting targets from the side or behind. And this is going to increase your overall damage that you deal out to and your critical rate. and it's also going to increase our damage from the passives from the Fighters Guild lines. Our next up is Poison Injection. This is somewhat of an execute really for us, but you really don't need it. Half the time, actually like 75% of the time, I don't even get to hit my Poison Injection because half of the combo already kills the people before I can even finish the combo. So uh, it's completely up to you. You do not have to use Poison Injection. This will work without it. You could slot another assassination ability. I only have 2 on here right now, but you could put Killer's Blade or whatever else you'd like to get a higher critical rate and a little more weapon damage. Or for higher weapon damage, you could go with another Fighters Guild uh, ability for the passives in there. It's completely up to you how you'd like to run it. Then our next ability is going to be Focused Aim. Now you can use Lethal Arrow also. Lethal Arrow will give you, I think, minor or major defile and will decrease their healing received and taken. But I use this one just because I was testing both of them out and I hadn't switched it back. And Focused Aim I actually like a lot because I'm already pretty much bursting them down and killing them super fast, that I don't necessarily worry about them not being able to heal up because I can't even finish half my combos because they're dying so quick. But for the people that do survive it or don't die right off the bat, then yes, Lethal Arrow would work better to your advantage. But I like that this one reduces their physical resistance by 1320, which isn't a lot. Uh, but for how much physical penetration and everything else we have on the build, this helps out just to debuff them a little bit when they get hit by the first arrow. So it's completely up to you. If you want to rock Lethal Arrow, by all means, go ahead. That will work really well too. And in most cases, people could argue that it does a little bit more because you put the minor major defile or whatever it is on them. I just stuck with Focus Aim. Now, our last one's going to be Silver Shards, and this ability hits really hard. It says 9,475 buffed up. I'm pretty sure it goes to like 10 something. But it hits really hard, and so how you want to do this with your combo is you're going to want to hit your Focused Aim, and then right before your Focused Aim is about to hit the target in mid-air, you want to shoot your Silver Shards so that it doesn't hit the target first. You always want your Lethal Arrow or your Focused Aim to hit first so that you get that crit damage, and then your Silver Shards to hit immediately, like milliseconds after, so that it considers it almost a big burst of 1 damage. It's going to be 2 abilities that you're hitting at the same time. So it's Lethal Arrow and then Silver Bolt right after, before it hits. So you trying to get them to hit sort of together. Sorry, sort of made that all combobbled up, but pretty much you're trying to get one ultimate big burst damage from both these abilities hitting close to the same time. And then you'll finish them off with a Poison Injection. But like I said, half the time they're dead before I can even hit my Poison Injection. Now, if you have tankier targets or you feel like you need another one, then you can hit Lethal Arrow or Focused Aim, whichever one you want to use, twice. So on the second round, you'll just do what I was talking about on the first round combo. So you hit Focused Aim, and by the time the second one's about to hit, you want to hit your Silver Shards, and so they hit together, close together, right there. And then go for your Poison Injection, and they should be completely dead and annihilated. Then, for ulti, we're using Incapacitating Strikes. You could put Dawnbreaker Smiting or whatever one you want from right there. It's completely up to you, but just make sure you use either this one or the Dawnbreaker ones. Because Dawnbreaker will give you overall more damage just for the passives, but this one will give you quite a bit of damage also, and it will increases your critical strike rating. So it's up to you, but just make sure, try to keep 2 assassination abilities on here along with 2 Fighters Guild abilities on here at all times. That's really going to keep your damage up, and like I said, you can move stuff around and make it higher damages. If you want to get in Poison Injection, get rid of it. It's completely up to you. For our back bar, rocking Vigor. So you don't actually have to run this. I hardly ever use this ability, honestly, on this build. I literally, like, I don't get caught that much, and I go really up close to people too. But just for the most part, sometimes I have needed it. It is a really good ability, and if you feel like you need it, then use it. But if not, you can actually take this ability off and you can slot Blood Frenzy, which will increase your damage significantly. You do lose health though, so if you do get caught, you most likely will die depending on how long you let this run for, especially when you're hitting. But for the most part, you should be okay, and this will increase your weapon damage to 600 or 6,000. I don't have it morphed on this guy right now. It's completely up to you if you want the more weapon damage. I don't feel I need it, but sometimes I put it on. Then we're using Channel Acceleration. This is a really good ability. It's going to give us Major Expedition and Minor Force. So it's going to allow us to get a speed boost for like 12 seconds, which is really nice, increasing your speed even when you're in stealth. And you can pop Channel Acceleration and Rally both while you're in stealth and it won't pull you out. And then it's going to increase your critical damage too. Then we're going to use Shadowy Disguise. This is obviously our stealth and pretty much save our asses and not get caught out in the open. Just disguises you so they can't see you. You'll be invisible and allows you to do damage. And then your direct damage attacks used within 3 seconds will always be a critical strike, so it's guaranteed, which is nice. And then Concealed Weapon. This is just for a movement bonus. I don't use this at all. This is just so that while we're in stealth, we can pretty much sprint around and move really fast and gives us great mobility. Then we're using Rally. You get a nice heal from this, but we're also mainly using this for the increased weapon damage by 20%. And then it's nice because you get stamina recovery too. And then for the last one is Soul Tether. We're using this primarily for a heal if you really need it, if you get bogged down by a bunch of people, but really I hardly ever use this. It's pretty much just for the passives and the healing for on the back bar. So from the siphoning passives that you get here, and then just by having it increase your max magicka by 8%, siphon ability slotted, and then increasing your healing done by 3%. So it's nice, so if you do need it, you get a little bit of increased healing on the back bar. Go to our champion points. Sorry, I'm trying to make the video fast. Try not to take too long with it. Going to our champion points. You can run your champion points how you see fit. Everyone runs their champion points different ways, and everyone has different play styles and how they play. So I have 51 into Warlord, 56 into Arcanist, 75 into Mooncalf, 39 into Befoul, which we really don't need unless you're going to use the ulti or disease. 31 into Tumbling, 18 into Shade. The reason I have more into Shade is because I like to stealth a lot and I'd like to be able to get away, and I'd like to be able to stay in stealth for long periods of time. So like it almost gives us infinite stealth. You can just keep going and going. That's how I stay alive a lot. 81 into Master at Arms, 66 into Precise Strikes, 48 into Piercing, 75 into Mighty. And like I said, you can change these around how you see fit. 66 into Ironclad, 4 into Spell Shield, which we really don't need. 55 into Resistance, 40 into Thick Skin, 40 into Elemental Defender, 43 into Hardy, 19 into Quick Recovery. You can take some of these out too. The fact that if you stay in stealth for long and you get good at it, you won't really need these as much, but like I said, I get up close and personal with people sometimes, so I like to have a little bit higher resistances in all areas, because when I do take that damage, I want to be able to survive even when I go back into stealth. And that's about it for the champion points. I think that's about it for the build. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comments below. I was trying to make it fast, so I sort of rushed through everything. Like I said, this build's a template. By no means is it mid-maxed out or any of that stuff, but I just wanted to show that having a decently good build is simple without having to have it all golded out. Like I said, if you guys like this channel or the videos that you see, make sure you hit that subscribe and hit that like button. And I appreciate everyone stopping by and checking out the video. I hope you all have a good day. Peace.